loud. Wow, Sophy Love, I am so honored to have you today and hear your story and your journey. And I know you're going to be at our Awaken Love retreat in Palos Verdes this year. And I'm so excited for you to be a guest and a speaker. And you guys, Sophy Love, I want to tell you a little bit about Sophy Love. Is she is a matchmaker, and she's really a healer disguised as a matchmaker. And her approach is that dating and relationships are a vehicle to healing and growth, which has happened for people to experience through conscious, authentic, and sustainable relationships. Sophy is trained as an authentic relating and internal family systems, trauma-informed coach, and her goal is to bring people into compassionate and conscious relationships with themselves and all parts of themselves. And so Sophy, please introduce yourselves. Tell us more. This sounds so delicious what you do. Tell us more.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, so I've been in the space of date coaching and matchmaking for going on 14 years now. What brought me to this space and this path was my own personal struggle and search navigating what I used to call the trenches of dating. I broke off an engagement in my late 20s, and at that point was like, oh my God, everybody's already married. And I thought I was going to be married with a child by 30. I had to restart, and online dating had just kind of become like okay. Like it still had stigma back then. This is 20 plus years ago.
Yes.
But I started dating a lot, and it was hard, and I struggled, and I had a therapist, and I had mentors, and I had friends, but really it was this like quest, right? Like I need to find my other. I need to find the missing piece of my life that will make me happy, which would be the husband and then having the family. Because that's the snapshot we all have. And I dated a lot, like hundreds of dates. And I sort of came up with my own ideas and methodology and way to go about it. And then I met my husband in 2010, my husband Michael, and we met on eHarmony, and totally random, 3 months after being matched, all this stuff. And we have been married for over 12 years, going on 13 years. We've been together for 14 this June, but yeah,
Congratulations. Did you know he was
thanks.
the one? When you went out on a date with him,
I,
did
I
you have
mean,
any intuitive feeling that he was the one for you?
no, I'm just gonna be honest. I mean,
Okay.
I'll tell you why I say no. He says he did. He's like, oh, 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is my wife, and he was in that place, right? And so was I. I mean, I was definitely like ready to meet my husband, right? But by that point, the way I dated was twofold, right? There was a part of me that was very open-hearted, wore my heart on my sleeve, was continually willing to be vulnerable and get my heart broken. And I did get my heart broken multiple times over those few years. Wow, did I get my heart broken? We're talking just devastation after certain breakups. Now I look back and realize that those were some pretty deep, exiled parts of mine that were looking for redemption. But still, everybody gets their heart. I mean, that's part of it, right? If you can't open up to the pain, to the potential of being heartbroken, you can't love. So, and be loved. And so, um, yeah, at that point, so part of me was very open, and a part of me was like, oh yeah, this guy's great. He's cute, he's tall, he's Jewish. He had like all these things, right? We had a great time, we had physical chemistry, and he was like on it, consistent, following up right away. All the things were there, but there was definitely a part of me that was like, well, I've been through this before multiple times over the last few years. And I could see myself being with him like right away. I was like, okay, this is like strong potential, right? For a husband, a
Yes.
strong husband potential, but also like, Sophy, keep it calm. You got to let it unfold. He has to keep being consistent. Like, there's no guarantees that this is the one. So there was like a protector, right? Like just
Yes.
managing the whole thing. So it was never like by that point, I dated so much that that protector part was there, just tempering the like, oh my God, I met my husband. Because I did that multiple times before and was so crushed that
Yes.
so that's how I felt when I met him. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. Like I'm excited. This is great. He's so cute and I like him a lot. And then he just kept showing up and it
Mm.
was there. That was it. Like we actually moved in with each other like 4 or 5 months later. And yeah, it went fast. And then we were engaged 9 months after we met, and then we got married later that year. So yeah.
Wow. And going back in time, Sophie, when you were dating and you kept getting your heart crushed, was there any kind of pattern that you were working on that you kept kind of repeating those same patterns of having your heart broken? Or there's a saying, is your picker broken? Were you picking the
Mm,
wrong people? And is there any kind of secret sauce for
mm.
finding that delicious vibrational match with each other? So backing up, what was the pattern and what do you think the lesson was?
Well, now I understand it. Back then I did not, because back then I was basically operating from a place of needing and searching for someone to redeem me, redeem the pain of being alone and the parts that were needing certain things that I did not get growing up as a child from my father. And so, again, this is like not just me. I know this is like everyone, right?
Yes.
We seek out redemption. We need redeemers, right? For the parts of us that are exiled away, that have formed over so many years, all these different things that happen to us. Like I said before to you, no one escapes this. No one escapes pain, no one escapes shame and suffering and humiliation and all of those things. And so you think that you're going to meet this person that's just going to like make you feel better, and you don't even realize it, right? It's all subconscious stuff. Um, and so back then, I was driven by like who is going to make me feel good, you know,
Mm,
who's going to make me feel loved, who's going to stick around, who is going and by the way, I wasn't putting myself out there as my whole self. I was managing parts of me all the time. I was trying to be that chill girl. I was trying to be likable and lovable because I thought, look, these men don't want some like messed up, broken person, right?
mm-hmm,
And inside, I felt like kind of damaged because what had happened in my life, and I will share openly. You know, my father at 17, my father murdered someone. He murdered the man that my mother left him for. And
mm,
from that point on, there was this deep shame around my story, and I managed it and guarded it fiercely when meeting new people because I didn't want it to define me. And
mm.
I wanted to just shove it. It's the past. This is not me. I am not my father. I'm not this. But really, when I went in and did the work over the last couple years, the shame around this was massive. And I later found out, like just not long ago, about a year ago, I was having a conversation with my high school best friends. I had like an amazing group of friends, and they told me that the morning after it happened, one of the first things they remember me telling them as I was recounting the night of this event and what had happened and how I found out. And it was like a movie. I mean,
Wow.
yeah,
You are so brave. Thank you for
yeah.
being so vulnerable. Thank you.
Of course. But I remember my friend told me, Sophie, the first thing you said to us, our group, was like, who the hell is going to want to marry the daughter of a murderer? That was me at 17. So it
Mm,
was like it was like less than 24 hours after this had happened. And I know that that stayed with me all those years. And as I showed up on the dates, and it was like, okay, when do I tell someone this? I had a whole first date version of Sophie. And it had all my good things, right? Like sexy and funny and outgoing and bubbly and witty and talkative and the talking all the time, also like a coping mechanism, all those
yes.
things, right? And yeah, and I remember I had like a whole answer planned when people would ask me, so where are your parents? What, the normal first date conversation. And I dreaded it, but I even pushed away the fact that I dreaded it. So I would
Mm.
just push all that. We do normally, it's what we do. And then, yeah, so dating was hard. And now I realize, wow, it was really hard. Like, shit, it was hard. And so, yeah, so I feel like, I don't know. I don't think my picker was broken or wrong. It was just doing like these parts of me were just doing their best to be like, oh, how are we going to help Sophie not feel pain from like, all the stuff. Like, how are we going to redeem her life? And that's who I picked, who liked me, who could I then tell this to, and then they wouldn't run away, right? So so yeah, I just kept doing my best and having
And
therapy.
do you think when you start feeling like, I love what Katie Byron says, sometimes if we energetically, it's holding down a beach ball under the water and we're all holding that shame and that guilt and
Hmm.
that fear
Hmm.
down underneath. And we're so busy holding that beach ball under the water that we're not
Mm.
free to express ourselves and be who we are. So 50 to 80% of us is pushing that down and not being vulnerable. And I love that saying, whatever we chase runs away. If we chase a
Oh,
dog, it runs. If we chase a guy, he runs. If it chase
totally.
money, it runs. And there's no need to be desperate or chasing, and just being who we are, that we are enough. Just being who we are, being a human being rather than a doing and a human going, and just
Hmm.
being authentic and vulnerable and true. So once you unraveled all
Mm.
that shame of what happened and you showed up
Hmm.
and really loved yourself unconditionally for whatever happened and made that not define who you are, like what was the
Hmm.
turning point for
Yeah,
you?
I agree. I just want to go back to this holding down the ball under the water. We spend so much energy withholding and
Yes.
managing. And this is part of what I teach people when we practice and teach authentic relating. I mean, the five pillars are welcome everything, welcome all parts of us so that you will welcome more in others as well. And assume nothing. And there's other ones, but the two that tie in here,
Beautiful.
welcome everything and reveal your experience. And this practice, it allows us to bring our whole selves into these conversations, interactions, and relationships. But before I even understood, I didn't even realize I was spending like probably 80% of my internal energy holding this thing under the water, right? And then again, then all this energy, these protectors that are holding this down and managing it, they're blocking access to our true selves, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
our true self, which all of us have that, and it shows up when the parts relax, right? And
Yes.
suddenly there's an effortless flow of connection and confidence and courage and clarity and compassion for self, for other. It's just, you don't actually have to try. It just happens. It flows effortlessly from the essence of who we are. Um, but it's really hard when all of those parts are blocking and they're in their very hypervigilant roles, protecting you from the pain that just hasn't been healed yet.
Beautiful. In the
Yeah.
12-step groups, they say you're as sick as your secrets. And so
Oh,
really talking about your
yes.
secrets, but also
Yes.
I think going out on dates, the person you're dating has to earn earn the vulnerability first. Like, don't leave yourself on a plate to be devoured. People will chew you up and spit you out. So, in other words, they have to earn that and make sure that when you are transparent and vulnerable, that you're in a safe place with them and you understand that they are a safe person to hold your vulnerability and your secrets, and make sure that yeah, you don't leave yourself on a plate to be devoured.
Right. So it's interesting you say that. So I think what comes up for me when you say that is kind of like, I think when people are, like you said, like when they have access to the inner knowing of that comes from true self, right? They know how much is the right amount in any given moment to share with a new person, right? So it's like you just know, right?
You have an
And I don't
intuition.
you have an intuition,
Intuition.
it's your inner knowing, right? It's yourself as like
That's right.
and again, it's like I think I don't know that there are any rules or any like rigid ways to say like, oh, you should be able to share this much when you first meet a new person on a date or not. Now, I definitely do not encourage immediate trauma bonding on a first date.
Yes.
Like, okay, here's all my stuff. If all your stuff comes out, it comes out, but there's also a reason why all your stuff might come out because there's some unresolved thing there, right? That's like pushing you to just share all this, right? And what we teach in authentic relating is setting the context and really like enrolling, staying in connection with the person that you're talking to check in as to like how are they experiencing whatever you're sharing. So
Mm.
being authentic is one thing. There's the authentic, like sharing, and then there's the relating. There's another
Mm.
person on the end of this. They're receiving your authenticity. And what is it like to hear that? Or, hey, I want to share something a little uncomfortable or I'm scared to share. Are you okay if I do that? You're checking with the other person to see if they're resourced or in a place to hear something that might be uncomfortable for them and you,
Beautiful.
right?
What a lovely dance. I really like that
Yeah.
dancing of giving and receiving and being open
Hmm.
to that. Is there any
Yeah.
kind of secret sauce when you're matchmaking people, Sophie? Is
Hmm.
there any other secret sauce? How do you decide with whom do you match
Mm.
with, and what is your demographic? Like, do you have certain
Mm.
where do you match make? Do people like from across the country? Do you keep people in the same city? Like, tell me a little bit about how you decide to match people,
Mm.
and what the qualifications are for you to match them.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking that. So I work with I mean, my age range is really wide. I would say like as young as 25, as old at this point, my oldest client is about 75. So it ranges. I would say, though, the majority of the clients I work with are probably like 30 to 55 is like more, right? More concentrated
Okay.
right there, the average. But I match within that age range. I work with people in different capacities. So we offer executive matchmaking, which is like bespoke, old school, like we're screening every person before we're going on the first date for them, we're background checking them, all that stuff, right? That we offer mainly in California. So Southern California, Northern California, I cover the whole state. And the reason why I say I cover the whole state is this is where my network is, my database of vetted singles, my recruiters recruit in these, my recruiters recruit based on who we sign on as clients. So anytime a person signs on as an executive matchmaking client, we assign a full recruiting search just for them based on their parameters. That's once I've like said, yes, I can work with you, I can help you. Um,
Great.
and so, yeah, and so there's that. So mainly that. And sometimes we have clients East Coast and out of state that are like bi-coastal or have two homes or are good with, moving from place to place. And then I work with people nationwide. We do digital matchmaking, which is where we actually we like are an online dating concierge for them. So we really take over their entire online dating experience so they don't have to be sitting and chatting and swiping.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that I can do nationwide. That does not matter where you're located. We could do that anywhere. It's a really nice service because you have a professional matchmaker doing it, and it removes the person from the truly, I'm just going to say it, toxic kind of behaviors that start to take place. Like, not the toxic behavior, sorry, the toxic effect it can have, the detrimental effect it can have on people's mental and emotional health to be on dating apps.
Yes.
The dopamine addiction to swiping. I mean, it's all been researched now, and there's a lawsuit, and so what's nice is people still get to go on the dates, but we do all the stuff for them. And then we plan the date, and then they just see the profile and the chat. And it's quick. It's not like we're chatting with someone for weeks or anything. We're just getting all the basic info. Okay, the client says, yeah, he looks cute. Okay, awesome. We set it all up, and they go, and then they get to experience this person without being stuck in the shopping evaluative mentality and mindset that happens when you literally shop for a partner on your phone. It's like we're ordering Amazon on our phone, we're ordering Starbucks on our phone, and suddenly we're ordering humans to meet.
Yes.
And so I'm like, if I can just remove that part of the process for them, they can much more easily make the shift from evaluative mindset into experiential, and in their hearts and their bodies where connection happens. So,
Beautiful. And I'm just wondering, I guess it depends on what they're looking for. If they want the same background of religion,
right,
around the
right.
same age, whether they've been divorced or had children or
Yeah,
no
yeah.
children, you take that all into
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah. So we do a really in-depth intake of like where they're at now. What have they been doing so far? What is their life? Like, who are they? Are they divorced? Do they have children? Are they still raising their kids? What's their custody situation like? Maybe they're a lot of our clients are looking to get married and start a family. Okay, great. You're in your 30s or early 40s, and you like a lot of women come to me with frozen eggs, and they're like, okay, I've been building my career for the last 10 years. Now I want to get married and have babies. Okay, awesome. So there's just so many different stages, but we take obviously all that information into account. We talk to them about the type of people they're attracted to, and we take, everything, right? Age range, race, ethnicity, religious background, political leanings, all of those things. Obviously, it's always best the more open a person is to the type of person that they could be with in the future, the more chances for connection for them. I do not accept clients who have extremely narrow, rigid search criteria. So
Fabulous.
I just don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
to me, it like usually that's the reason why they're still single after many, many, many years. It's almost like the more years go by, the more narrow they get. And then they come to me and they're like, okay, but I'm going to pay you $25,000 and I want this. And I'm like, sorry, this is, unless you're willing to like do the work that's going to actually open this up, I can't be successful for you, me personally. It's just not aligned with how I work. Um, yeah, but
I
there are
love
plenty
that.
of matchmakers who will happily. And by the way, they do a great job of that, of just more of a transactional experience, meaning like,
Hmm.
here's my checklist, please deliver. Cool. That's not me. I am like, this is a journey. This is going to be something, this process will change you in a way that is going to make you have a sustainable, authentic, nourishing relationship. So let's get in and do the work.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And how many marriages have you had
Oh
through?
gosh. Through all these years, definitely we hit the dozen mark a little while ago. So I think we're at like 16 at this point. Um don't quote me on that though. I've
But that's
had
fabulous.
yeah, and I mean honestly, it's always like such a joy to get like, I got engaged, and the babies are like, whoa, like next level matchmaker heart explosion when there's a matchmaking baby born. That's amazing. But I have to tell you, where I feel the most aliveness and excitement and joy is when someone comes to me after they've worked with me and they met someone on their own, and they're like, this is it. Like this path is what got me here. And so when people are like, what's your success rate? I tell them, I'm like, well, at this point, like, um, you know, 80 to 85% of the people I work with meet someone within 18 months of us starting to work together. And it doesn't matter if they met them through me, through like one of my introductions, or literally like at the gym, or through it's the process that opened them up to it. And I've gotten so many just amazing letters and emails and texts like that. And so although the matchmaker part of me that's like, oh, you got this introduction, like you did this, you did the whole thing, right? That's really exciting. But the healer part of me is like, loves that the most, right? Because it's
That's
almost like I gave them the
beautiful.
tool, like I just lit the way, like my team and I, by the way, not just me. I just want to call out that it's not just me. I have an amazing team. I have matchmakers. I have my two coaches on my team who are doing the most profound, amazing work with these clients. I would not be able to do it without them. Justin Wilford, Ryle Castano, both just like gems of real healers. I learned from them, and I was healed by them and I still heal with them to this day. So yeah, it's really a team that does
That's
this.
incredible. And where are you located, Sophie? Like, where do you live? Do you live in
I
Southern
live,
California?
I do. I live in San Diego. I live in Carlsbad, South Carlsbad, so coastal North County, San Diego. And like I said, like my clients, it varies. My roster is not huge. I don't take on that many clients at a time, like matchmaking clients. But right now, I would say majority of them are Los Angeles, San Diego, a few in Orange County, and then I have a handful up in Northern California as well right now. So yeah, that's
And what is the one modality that people can take away from you to
mm,
help them embark on the dating when they go out and start looking for their partner? What is the one most important modality that you can teach
oof,
them today that can
that I
kind
would
of
say they should look into, like just explore.
to
Oof, it's
catapult
Ooh,
to
it's so hard to
catapult into
choose. Okay, so if I have to choose one for dating specifically, I'm gonna have to say authentic relating. But it's like it's hard for me to even put it above the other modality that we use here, internal family systems. So to me, those two are cornerstones of authentic, conscious living and relating. So, and internal family systems is basically like authentic relating with yourself, with all your parts. So but if there was one that I think people could like much more easily just dive into and utilize right away, authentic relating. But the parts work in IFS is profound stuff. So love both of them.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, Sophie, where can people find you? Where can they find you if
Um,
they want to hire you to
mhm.
either be a matchmaker or to help them with relationship coaching? Where can they find you?
So my website is Sophy.love. That's SOPHY dot LOVE, not .com. Sophy.love. My Instagram is Matchmaker Sophy, also with a Y. And that's it. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, Sophie Singer, SOPHYSINGER. It's really easy once you go to my website or even the link in bio in my Instagram. It's absolutely free to join our singles database. Doesn't cost anything, and it
Great.
doesn't cost anything to be matched with a paying client. So if you just want to be in our pool, we will definitely meet with you over Zoom. If we think you're a match for someone, we do background checks, all that stuff. But like, it costs nothing. And then you get notified when we're running workshops, and we just started our authentic dating course last night. It's called Closer to You, The Art of Conscious Dating. And Ryle Castano is the lead instructor and facilitator. And we started that last night. It's a 4-week course over Zoom. And we will be having another one starting in May. And if anybody in Southern California is interested in an in-person live event, I am currently running some really fun events with F45 in San Diego, both Solana Beach location, Poinsettia, and La Costa. We do a workout, like a F45 strength workout, and then I facilitate a short authentic dating workshop afterwards for everyone. So
That's
it's
fabulous. And can we
super
find all
fun.
that info on Sophie.love? All that
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah,
listed
and on
down
my
there?
Instagram. Yeah, yeah. And as soon as you're in my system, we notify you of every event that's coming up. We don't send out a lot of emails too. We're not like, we're not spamming or even newslettering at this point. We're just letting people know when there's something to look at as an option. So yeah.
Oh, Sophie, thank you so much. Thank you for being so vulnerable and so open.
Of
And
course.
I just loved hearing what you do. What a
Mm,
beautiful gift you are to the world. And
thank
I'm so
you.
excited to hear you at Awaken Higher Love. It's going to be our
Mm,
fifth retreat at in Palos Verdes, and Sophie's going to
mm.
give an hour talk, you guys, and she's also going to be on our relationship panel. So if you want to know about that, go to susanfoxley.com. But it's been such a joy to get to know you and such an honor. Thank you so much, Sophie. Really appreciate you.
Susan, thank you. An
Thank you, thank
honor,
you,
honor
thank
to have
you.
this conversation. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot. And you have a
Okay.
beautiful, amazing, phenomenal day. And let's see if I can learn how to stop. I'll pause.